What's up there guys, this is Mac, hope you guys are well. This is a review of Sine Mora EX for the Nintendo Switch. This game has had quite a few releases. Let me go through the history of the releases. It's a shoot 'em up. It was originally released back in, let's see, for the 360, PS3, Windows, Android, quite a lot of systems, but the original release date was the 2012, so November the 20th 2012, and the 21st in Europe 2012 for 360, PC, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and iOS was released in 2013 and July, and the Ouya as well. Wow, so the August the 13th 2013 it was released on the Ouya, which was like a sort of like a Steam box type setup, and then recently Sine Mora EX was the, well, I would say that's the final edition, so it provides a few extra features, I believe. I'm not sure what the additional features were, but it's like the EX edition, which came out in Windows PC again, PS4, Xbox One on August the 8th 2017, and on the Nintendo Switch for the 26th of September 2017 in USA, and in Europe it came out on October the 10th 2017. That's the history of all the release dates for this. So I appreciate this is quite a fairly old game that I'm reviewing at the moment, but I bought it closer to the time. Well, actually I bought it quite recently, and I've only just completed it, and I actually bought it for a really good price. I remember a lot of the people that were reviewing this game back when it was released, it was a full price game and they weren't happy with it. So I think so when it came to price wise, they were advising to sort of hold off and let the price drop, and I picked it up for, I think it was about £16. Check out this, this is where I bought it from, I think this website here, and it was £16 I believe, and I was like, I have to buy this. This was a good deal, and it's a very interesting shoot 'em up. And what I found with shoot 'em ups is that I generally don't enjoy the original shoot 'em up style. Like, I get bored of it. A lot of the newer ones that I played on, for example, with the modified Xbox that has all the arcade version of shoot 'em ups, with save states and all of that, you can keep on doing that and then go through the save states and just finish the game. And yeah, it's easier, but the original way is really hard sometimes, and it gets the strain if you keep on dying. And I find that constantly dying in games is not fun. It's like it puts you off, you want to turn it off. So I don't play games in like hard difficulty. I tend to put it on normal. I don't go easy, but I go to normal, which is how I would say the developers expected a normal difficulty level to be. So it's not losing out on anything, it's not gaining in additional challenges for no apparent reason other than just to frustrate you and turn off the console. So I know a lot of people personally prefer, playing in the harder difficulties, but I personally prefer normal difficulties. So I played normal difficulty on this, and it was freaking hard. There were some hard sections in this game, but the mechanics in this game were phenomenal. I absolutely enjoyed it so much. The beautiful art style behind the actual ship itself was brilliant. There was a lot of like there was voiceover as well. There was voiceovers. There was a lot of like story mode in between the stages. I think you have a good about 8 to 12 different levels that get unlocked if you play through the story mode, and you have little cutscenes in between which you can forward by holding on L, and it's like a flying shoot 'em up going horizontal. I feel like when you're going horizontal, it's actually more rewarding trying to get further rather than going vertical. I find that vertical ones, shoot 'em ups, sort of feel like it's just never ending, whereas with horizontal ones, at least you're going somewhere and it feels like there's gonna be a destination that you're gonna sort of get to, a bit like how, you know, like side scrollers and Sonic games. For me personally, I find that with a side horizontal layout for shoot 'em ups, there's a destination to get to, and it feels a lot more rewarding when you finally get there, whereas with the vertical shooters, just infinite. Anyway, that's my personal thing. But yeah, you got 2-player mode on this. You can straight out play 2 players, and you got a lot of challenge modes on there, but I find that the single player mode is the best way to play it. I played it on the portable version of it, so I was playing it with my D-pad here. I got a modified D-pad on my Switch. I found that I was playing it brilliantly with the D-pad, and the joystick was a bit too difficult, so I'm glad I got the D-pad mod. But you can obviously play with your Pro Controller, and when I played it on the TV, I was playing my Pro Controller, but then I realized that the D-pad is not the best for the Switch Pro Controller. But I've got the Brooks adapter, which allows my Xbox One controller to connect to my Switch. So I was using my Xbox One controller, and I found that the Xbox One controller has the best D-pad overall, I think, better than the actual Switch Pro controller's D-pad, which is a bit more smaller and a bit more sharper, and it sticks out a bit too much in the middle, whereas with the Xbox One, it's got a bit more nice grooves and indentation, and it makes it more comfortable, and you have more control on the D-pad, I would say. And so yeah, or you can use the 8-bit USB stick and use your Xbox controller when you're playing on TV mode, but otherwise you can play with your normal Switch Pro controller. But yeah, I mean, generally I find that with shoot 'em ups, when you're going and you're just shooting and you're dodging bullets, it can become a chore and you just want to get it over and done with. Whereas I'm always in the market for looking at different styles where they bring a bit of a twist to this old school classic sort of mechanic style of gaming. And this one, as well as I've got one here that, again, I haven't played this one yet, but I picked this up. This was a international release, Dimension Drive. Now, these 2 games, you gotta remember, they're both shoot 'em ups, but they have a twist to it, and that's why you understand. If you know, innit? But I'll get to that one when I do a review on this, and I haven't played this one yet, so I'm gonna do a review on that once I finished it. But that one's got a different mechanic as well when you're playing with two ships at the same time. This one, brilliant. You've got a mechanic where you've got the time shift, where you can slow down the time by pressing R, one of the R triggers, and it slows it down so you can actually dodge through bullets. You've got the special weapon, which uses like bombs or whatever weapons you have at the different stages. The special changes within the 8 stages, or the 8 to 12 stages. You unlock them as you go, but you can obviously play the arcade mode where it does have no storyline in between. But I prefer the storyline, doesn't really matter. I wasn't following the storyline, by the way. It's a bit too confusing, and I was just ready to get into the action, so I just pressed A. There's a lot of reading and a lot of like voiceover, but I just skipped it. But I do appreciate the fact that there are sort of clips of storyline in between the stages, and you can press L1 or L1 the L triggers to just skip it if you wanted to. But yeah, the time mechanic is brilliant. It slows it down. The mechanic to use different specials and different levels are brilliant. You've got different orbs that you can collect that allow you to have more specials. I believe you've got the red orb that gives your power, your normal machine gun, more power. It becomes chunkier, it becomes off angled, or it becomes square. And a bit like how in Gynog as well in Sega Mega Drive, where it will shoot different orbs you pick up, like the blue one and the red one, I believe, makes your bullets more thicker and wider and more bullets, and they cover more of the screen. In this one you have similar stuff, and you can also so you got the special, you got that, but what I really appreciate was that most shoot 'em ups, when you get hit, that's it, you die, you lose your energy, you get maybe 1 or 2 hits and then you're pretty much dead, or it's instant death. In Gynog it was really annoying, that's frustrating, and you always die, then you need to come back and you gotta start all over again. That's why I'm not a fan of shoot 'em ups, and I usually tend to use save states if I can, but generally it's not as fun. Whereas with this one, what kept it very interesting and challenging was the fact that you can actually use, it's like a time mechanic where you if you get hit, you lose time, and if you shoot enemies, you have to find enemies and you gotta shoot them to gain more time, and then the time counter is always at 99 seconds, or it's about 60 seconds, and it's constantly going down, and if it goes down to 0, you will just die on the spot, so you got to keep that going. So that is really interesting. I find that the way you got to stay alive is all about time. So if you go through bullets and stuff like that, and you're gonna go and hit the wall, yeah, you don't die instantly, but you lose a lot of time. So you just gotta keep on the bullets, keep the bullets going, and you gotta keep shooting enemies and then gain more time. And generally the game is quite forgiving in the sense where they will give you enough enemies to kill to then regain your time. And there's also these orbs that are like the green ones that give you additional time bonuses. So it increases your time by a good 20 seconds and it gives you more time in the game to sort of get back into your feet and kill more enemies. So I do appreciate that as well. And I just find that it's brilliant when you're constantly watching you don't want to die and you don't want to, you know, you're looking at the time counter. So it's not a case of you get hit and you die and it's frustrating. You have a good chance of actually getting far in this game. And I found that I did get really far. I completed it and I absolutely loved it. The final boss was difficult. I mean, not the final boss, but the level before the final boss, which was just the final level of the final chapter of the second to last level. There was a maze that you had to go through and it was freaking hard, man. It was like a circle and you gotta go in between like a maze, but you gotta destroy different types of barriers to get through. And it was hard and you gotta slow it down. You gotta use your bullets, you gotta use the explosion, you know, your special weapon. And it was freaking awesome, but really hard. And I was stuck in it for a while, but I got through it. And but in general, the bosses are really cool. It's very like sort of cyberpunk style setup in the future. You got underwater, you got over the ocean, you got beautiful, gorgeous backgrounds where it's just phenomenal open land, nice scenery. You've got cities, you've got like you know, new contemporary cities and stuff like that. And whenever it sort of changes across the different angles to go from one section of the boss to kill the second section of the boss, it changes over. You can see it fly over and it becomes from a 2D, it becomes 3D, then it goes back to a 2D again. So I really like the fact that the new aesthetics of the new 3D shooters are looking really cool, but also staying true to the sort of the 2D aspect of it. And it's just gorgeous the way it does that change, and then you go on to the next section. And I found that it was balanced when you're killing enemies. And one really cool feature as well that I really appreciate is that another thing I used to hate, one thing that I hate about, or two things that I hate about shoot 'em ups in general, the classic ones. So when you die, it's usually one hit and you die. Second one is that when you die, when you get hit, you die, you come back and you've got literally no power-ups. In this one, they fixed that both. So if you die, if you get hit, you lose time. So you don't die, you just basically lose more time, so you can gain that back, which is brilliant. So you don't die instantly and it's not frustrating. The second thing is that when you get hit, you lose your orbs, you lose your power-ups. So your weapons that if you've picked up like 5 red orbs, you know, you've got 5 levels of power-up. So your bullets are more chunkier, they're more wider, and you've got more array, so you can shoot more area, cover more of the screen. If you get hit, you lose that, but it doesn't go away. It just basically floats out, little coins, and you gotta pick them up quickly to then regain it. And it's brilliant. If you just something's off the screen, then you realize that it goes off and it's just a bit frustrating. It shoots off the screen, so you can't recollect it. But if you're in the middle of the screen and you know you're about to get it, there's a lot of enemies coming around, just get to the center of the screen or to the back left, to the back of the screen, and then hopefully if the orbs come out and you get hit, you can then recollect it quite easily. And I found that is phenomenal. The way they did that setup, it just kept me engaged, and I kept on trying to regain my weapons, and I never lost my weapons. I kept it going for most of the game, because usually in these shoot 'em ups, yeah, you will find that you will actually go through most of the game using your basic weapons, because you always lose up the power-up shots or the power-up bombs, and it's not something that you hold on to for a long amount of time. Whereas in this game, I actually held on to a lot of my weapons because I kept regaining them before they disappeared off the screen. I recaptured them, so I always had my special power-ups, and I had my special power bombs as well. Use your special for the enemies, by the way, the bosses. Don't use them on the normal enemies, because the bosses need it. The specials are really cool at each level, and the bosses, they take up most of the screen, so it's really cool when you find them. And also when you unlock them, you unlock the levels, so you can play them individually, all the different stages, as well as you can also play like a bomb, it's a boss rush mode where you can play all the bosses in one go as well. So that's pretty cool for some replay value. And at £16, it's a brilliant game. I mean, I think it came out originally or like full price, or I think it was like 30 or 60 quid. I can't remember. I know it came out at full price, so whatever that price was at the time, but now it's definitely a good buy if you want to buy it. I know the Switch had a bit more of a premium when it first came out, but now it's gone down in price, so definitely I would recommend you guys buy on the Switch. if you want to play a good shoot 'em up now, and portably as well, because the D-pad made it really cool. I found myself playing this sometimes whilst watching a podcast or something like that, and I was just literally playing this and getting through some of those difficult levels, and then I played on this on the actual TV as well. I played it on both, and I found that it's one of those games that works brilliantly on both, and it was just really fun to play, and I absolutely enjoyed the new additions and mechanics to this, the time shift, the fact that you don't lose your weapons, you get a chance to recapture them. It's all cool and it's all brilliant, and it's all fixes the genre for me personally, and I found that it was awesome for that. So definitely do check that game out. I know the review was a bit quite late, but definitely now is actually a good time to pick it up because of the fact that the price has dropped as well. So definitely, if you haven't picked it up yet, do check out this review, and do hopefully you enjoyed the review, and so do hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys go and buy it. If you do, let me know in the comment section below how you guys finding the game, if you do buy it up recently, and yeah, and try and find it for a good deal as well. We're in like mid-January at the moment, 2019, so that's the price at the moment when I picked it up. But definitely a cool game, not too long as well, so you can complete in quite a reasonable time. You know, a good few 5 to 6 hours, I believe you should be able to do it. It's not too long. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, take care, guys. This is Mac. Peace out.